everybody, and welcome back to Noodles at Noon, the show that focuses on things not worth focusing on. Thank you so much for being here. I am Ben Shoemate, and I didn't spend the time thinking of something interesting to say about myself. So there you go. I also said my last name, so congratulations. Joining me this week is a man who, if you need to borrow a hammock, he will give you most of one. It's Noah.
I will give you every piece of a hammock except the part you need to actually hang it up. That's what I learned about myself.
I
this
might be
week,
talking about
so
that
Ben.
later, so don't say too much.
Okay.
And also joining us this week, she is a famous actress, and you can see her in the likes of a hat model in a play. It's Lexi.
Hey, what's up? I can't help it. I have a nice head.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Noah, how do we know Lexi?
Lexi is my sister, which is just continuing the tradition of replacing Michael with my relatives, which is actually up for debate. Jesse, my wife, and I were talking about this the other day. Are we relatives?
No, you and
Jesse
are not relatives. You're not related in any
I
way.
hope not.
And this is the case I made, but we looked it up, and by definition, we are relatives. So therefore, I can say Jesse is my relative, Lexi is my relative.
Under Adam, aren't we all relatives?
Yes, that is true.
That is true.
But once you guys have
Bringing
a
us back
kid,
to the
then I
beginning.
would say yes, you are related, because the child has both DNAs of the family. So technically, you would be linked inversely on the family tree. So after you have a kid, yeah, you'll be relatives. But you have to have a kid first. This is just my way of telling you to have a kid.
Yeah, no, I second that. I want to be another aunt.
You'll still be the same aunt, Lexi. You won't be another
We were talking
aunt.
about this. We were talking about this about 6 weeks ago, but then I got the opportunity to co-host a podcast, so we had to kind of put our having kids plans on hold so I could run this podcast.
I can't imagine that this takes up that much of your time.
I have to run the website. I set that up one Sunday, and I check in on it every now and then. As a conclusion to my story, by definition, a relative is a person connected by blood or marriage. So therefore, we are relatives. So anyway, Lexi, welcome to the show.
Yeah, and that is Noah fighting very hard to prove he's related to his wife.
I feel honored. Normally, I think people would probably fight to disprove that, but you know what? That's good too.
People would go to court over fighting the other way, but not Noah.
I feel like I'm going to have to owe my wife an apology after this episode.
Just always apologize to your wife as a safety net, just in case.
That's good life advice.
Good.
And wife advice.
I'm going to write this down for when I have a wife someday. 4 or 5 decades from now. Anyway, as we move on with our show this week, Noah, you want to get us started with some weekly updates? Or should I let Lexi do it first, since she is our guest? I'll let you decide.
Let's let the special guest go first.
Lexi.
I know she's listened to every episode of the show.
She has.
So she should have some knowledge of how this segment works. So Lexi, tell us a story.
It's not a hard concept to grasp, but, you know.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I just feel really honored. No, I'm just kidding. That's so sappy.
You can feel honored. No, I'll take it. My ego desires it.
I was actually really excited about this, and then I was sitting in my cubicle at work today, and I realized that I was 2 weeks behind on the show. So I had to do some cramming today, which was great. And the problem about listening to this show in my cubicle is that, like, I'll put my headphones in, and it feels like I just have friends, like, talking to me while I'm working, and I'll forget that I'm at work, and I'll start, like, actually laughing in my cubicle, and then occasionally I'll, like, try to talk back to you guys because you two are my friends. So I'll, like, say something, like, interject it in the conversation, and then I realize that I'm listening to a podcast, and you guys aren't there with me, so...
And thankfully, it seems completely normal, like you're just talking to some voices in your head.
Yeah, that happens. That's been happening like my whole life. So really nothing new.
That's cool.
Anyway, that's not my story. I don't have a ton to say, nothing too crazy, but I will say, so this week on Sunday night, my parents and I were watching a movie, and we started during this whole quarantine thing, we started a tradition where we'd pick a night a week, and usually a Friday night, and we would call it Horror Movie Friday, in which we would select a lovely new horror movie to stream, and some of them were actually horrifying, but quality movies, and some of them were just terrible. But this week, we decided to watch a movie called The Boy, and it's about these parents whose son supposedly died, and they have this life-size, like, porcelain doll that they just pretend is their son. And so this nanny comes into their house to take care of the kid, and the parents leave for like 2 weeks and leave her with the kid. So she's just hanging out with this doll, and his name is Brahms, and the whole thing in the movie is that, like, Brahms' lullaby is playing in the background. And you don't really realize how ominous that song is until you make it the soundtrack for a horror movie. You know what I'm saying? And so we finished the movie, and I go upstairs, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to take a really fast shower. And my dad made a joke like, haha, lock the door so Brahms doesn't get in. And I was like, oh, you're so funny. And I locked the door, as every normal human being does when they go take a shower, I hope, when they live with people.
Or even just use the restroom.
Yeah, yes. Or close the door. That's
or
always
even close the door when they use the restroom.
And not talk to other people. Anyway, moving on. So I'm in the shower. You know, I've been in the shower for like 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, I hear like this rattling. But you know, it's kind of hard to hear things when you're in the shower. So I hear this rattling, and then all the lights go off in my bathroom, and you just hear Brahms' lullaby start playing, like, really, really ominously. And mainly just to give my parents some satisfaction, I screamed a little bit, and I was like, get out, you know, because it was kind of funny. And then I just hear my mom giggling, like, maniacally outside. And so later, I get out of the shower, and I come outside, and my mom's like, I filmed the whole thing, and it's beautiful. And so she has this, like, 5-minute recording, which includes 3 minutes of my dad trying to pick a lock in my bathroom, and then 2 minutes of them, like, setting me up and turning off my lights. And that's just, if you don't know my parents, to anyone listening, you should get to know them, because they are some pretty quality humans.
This is the main reason I've never showered at your house.
I feel like there should be bigger reasons you've never showered at my house, like that you don't live there.
I like how that's the takeaway from your story.
I mean, I've stayed at.
Don't shower.
When Noah lived there, I would stay over. I feel like that's pretty
and
typical.
He never showered. It's true.
I just smelled really bad the whole time.
But it's better because you never know what is going to happen when you go into the shower at my house. So that's it for that story. I have one more just quick short story. The other day I just want to
say,
yes.
I just want to say first, this sounds like the setup for one of Ben's Florida mans. Like, parents terrorize daughter to death over reenacting horror movie or something.
Oh, just you wait. That might or may not be coming up later in the show.
I'm excited. I think my dad maybe used to live in Florida, so he was like an ex-Florida man. Just kidding. He didn't, but he definitely has Florida man tendencies.
That's true. I'll vouch for that.
Yeah. Okay, so my second story. I'm driving down a road in the place that I live the other day, and I'm going around a roundabout, and I'm starting to come out of it, and I see, so the sign, you know, it says in good old Helvetica font or whatever, speed limit 40, right? Normally, that's what you'd expect to see. Except someone in our good old city decided to cover up the S and the D in speed limit so that it just says P limit 40. And I thought it was so funny that I went around the roundabout again so I could look at it. And I giggled like an 8-year-old boy in my car. And I was like, I'm an adult now. Shouldn't I be like, oh, man, these people are defacing property. That's just so immature. But instead, I went around the roundabout twice because I thought P limit 40 was so funny.
So my question is this the maximum speed that you are allowed to pee?
40. You are only allowed to pee
in that
40.
area?
Yeah.
Well, are you only allowed
or
to...
is it a quantity?
No, that's what I was going to ask. Are you allowed to pee while going 40 miles an hour or only pee 40 times there? That's our solution. Our city's solution is just you can pee this many times here, no more. Then you have to find somewhere else.
Is that lifetime or daily?
But it's got that miles per hour qualifier, so I think it definitely has to do with the speed more than the quantity.
Going off what Lexi said, if it's like a per day thing, I think it's like, you know how you get those punch cards from coffee shops? Where it's like you get certain number of drinks, you get a free venti. Maybe you like someone will be there and like punch your public pee card, and then you get a free latte.
And then you just have to pee more. So really, it's like a catch-22. Then you're going to pee 41, and what do you do then?
I don't know.
I really didn't mean to start this topic of conversation, but...
If you could get a picture for the Instagram, though, that would be the next best step.
Of what?
The sign, not
of the sign.
Where did your mind go? What did you think we wanted a picture of?
How else could you possibly construe that?
So how often do you guys cut things out?
Noah, it's your turn to tell us a story. Please make us stop talking about pee. And please don't have a story about pee.
Well, that's why Dennis Quaid will not be on our podcast, because he really thinks it's going to hurt his reputation.
I'm trying.
Anyway.
Dennis, I'm really trying.
Understandable.
Anyway, my story, I've had a story that I've been putting off for a few weeks, and I'm going to put it off another week because of the developments of the last few hours.
Oh, my.
Do you ever have something that you're looking forward to, and you just look forward to it so much, and it just makes your day, and you know, at the end of the day, this is going to happen, it's going to make my day?
Yeah, actually.
So today...
I usually call it sleep.
But that comes every single night. And you know that's going to happen.
With this,
except for those who suffer with insomnia.
The sweet release of my weighted blanket.
I love my weighted blanket.
So for me, today that was On the Border, which is not a sponsor.
Yet.
But they're a Mexican restaurant. I believe they're a chain. I assume they're a chain. And it's a chain I haven't eaten at in many, many years. But my wife texted me earlier this morning and said, hey, I just got an Uber coupon for $30 off for Uber Eats. And we don't ever really do delivery food because it's like way more expensive. But with this coupon, it was going to be a really great deal, and we could get all this Mexican food for pretty cheap. So I have been thinking about On the Border all day. And
he even told me about it at lunchtime at work.
I did. I even told Lexi, like, I'm getting On the Border tonight. See this sandwich that I hastily prepared this morning? This is nothing. For tonight, I will dine on enchiladas and tacos. So I got home at 5 o'clock, and pretty much as soon as I walked in, Jesse was on the couch. I said, let's order On the Border. Like right now. I am not letting anything get in the way of On the Border. And so we get in there, and we look through the Uber Eats menu, and we get it all ready, and we apply the coupon. And it doesn't work. And it says that we're not viable for the order. So we spent some time trying to troubleshoot. We think it might have to do with our address or the credit card associated with it, because I also got this Uber Eats deal last week. And I thought maybe they wouldn't let you use it on two separate accounts at the same address or something like that. And eventually we figured out that the email address that this was coming into was not the email she was logged into in Uber. So we messed around with that, and then we tried the new account, but the new account wasn't tied to a phone number. And so when we tried to place the order, we had to fill out the whole order again. We tried to place it. We hit the place order button, and it said that our phone number couldn't be verified because somehow her user account was corrupted. And so I spent an hour trying to mess with the Uber Eats website so I could get On the Border. An hour. 6 o'clock rolls around, and finally Jesse just gets up and starts making dinner. And I'm sitting on the couch with this laptop and my phone and her phone in a hand. I've been messing with all this for an hour, and I finally just have to give up. And I'm sitting there hastily looking between screens, typing things in, Googling things, looking up to see if Postmates maybe has any similar deals and I can create a Postmates account. And finally, I'm just hanging my head in shame, and Jesse makes dinner. But the story has a happy ending because Jesse's dinner was really, really good.
I was going to say, like, I
don't
really feel bad for you and the fact that you got
your wife made you dinner. What a shame.
nice home-cooked meal by your sweet wife. I'm so sorry that is your existence.
And for the record, I usually help with dinner. Like, we usually make dinner together. Although she does
you're so
make it a little bit
cute.
more than me. But tonight, I was so preoccupied with trying to hack Uber Eats so I could have On the Border that I didn't even help my wife make dinner.
I honestly want a house husband after listening to this story that will just make me dinner when I come home from work.
Like, that's all you want them for? Just like, can they leave after that?
No, there's dishes.
Okay, after that. Because I think they have these, but they're exclusively for old people. So,
I don't even...
And rich people.
yeah, old rich people. So I think you can work...
I am neither old nor rich,
Yeah.
so...
I'm sure you can
All
get
right.
someone to
So
do it.
I don't know if my story is... It's not a complaint because I think it was just funny.
Yeah, you
just
got to
the
be
picture
careful
of-
with that.
It was not a complaint. More a confession that I spent an hour on Uber Eats today just trying to place an order to save $30.
Yeah, that's fair though.
That's the worst.
I would spend more than because I don't even get paid $30 an hour, so I would spend more than an hour trying to save $30.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's a good measure. Is like, how much do I make an hour versus how much time is this going to save me and money?
Yeah.
Ben, what's new with you this week?
Oh, gee, wouldn't you like to know, Noah? As I'm about to talk about how I had a scheduled event to go hammocking with a friend when I realized I neglected to inform them that I don't own a hammock. So I thought, I can reach out to somebody who owns a hammock. And I happened to be talking about the fact I was going hammocking with Noah. I was texting him about it. And I said, wait, I just remembered I don't have a hammock. And he was like, okay, that's fine. I have a hammock. It's a double hammock. Wink, wink, he said. I don't even know why that was relevant, but okay. So I go to his house during my lunch break. I have Chipotle waiting. I swing by his house. I pick up the hammock, and he hands me the hammock. And as he's handing it to me, he goes, oh yeah, I forgot the straps. And he goes, let me go get them from the basement. So he goes to the basement, and he comes back. Well, I went with him, but we go to the basement, and no straps. So he's just like, well, when are you going hammocking? And I said, tonight, because I don't plan things out well enough in advance to have picked up the hammock at a time before the day I was going hammocking. So I go to meet my friend, and I connect part of the hammock to their hammock strap. Is that the scientific name for them? Hammock strap?
For sure.
I feel like it should.
Sounds good.
It should have a better name. Hammock strap. And then the rest of the hammock is just on the ground. So if you find a leaf in your hammock, that's why, Noah. And the solution I was able to MacGyver up, and I was quite proud of this, but also quite terrified of this, was I was able to clip my backpack onto the other carabiner of the hammock, and then sling my backpack through a, like, you know, where the tree, I don't know what noise that just made, but through the, like, where the
Branches?
tree splits. And mind you, this backpack I got on clearance from, like, a baseball team store. So it's not like a high-quality item. It's just a backpack that's very hastily sewn together. And we took bets on how long it would last. It thankfully lasted the whole time. My backpack survived.
That's good.
Portions of my backpack are now broken. But for the most part, the backpack survived. So I just want to say, Noah, thank you for letting me borrow your hammock so I can go on this hammocking excursion, and for giving me something to talk about on the podcast. Because other than this, nothing interesting happened to me this week, I'm being honest. So thank you. You helped me out in more than one way. So
You are
My
welcome
heart
for
goes
the
out to
half
you.
measure. Giving you half of the hammock.
You
Well-
just gave him a ham.
Ick.
I had to make an ick.
I'll
I had to
provide the
MacGyver
ham,
an
you
ick.
provide the ick.
I must say it's it's better to get the ham than the ick. Because if you had just given me the
That's
straps, I'd had to tie it to my feet and then just hold on to it with my arms the whole time. And I'm pretty sure that's a method of torture. So
I was going to say, I think that's like a stretching
I was
rack.
going to say, I think I saw that in Braveheart, and it did not end well for that poor guy.
I don't think anything ends well for the people in Braveheart. They get really inspired and then they all die. That's why I never get inspired.
Do you know what Mel Gibson's last line in that movie is?
Freedom. No,
It is.
Just kidding.
And do you know what
Yeah.
the first line in the next movie he was in was?
My cat.
I was gonna say, Dennis Quaid.
It's also freedom when he played Rocky in the hit classic film, one of my favorite films of all time, Chicken Run.
Rocky. Oh.
Not
Mel
Rocky.
Gibson was in Rocky. What was I thinking?
I don't think Mel Gibson was in Rocky.
I don't think he was either. All right. Well, now that you've heard a little bit about our past weeks, taking a look ahead to the upcoming week, I want to talk about this Wednesday, 2 days from now.
Clearly.
It is going to be National Podcast Day. Oh my goodness. You can celebrate that by listening to your favorite podcast, or you can celebrate it by entering into our National Podcast Day giveaway. We're going to be giving away a mug, which you will be able to see on our Instagram once I post some of the lovely product images that we have of our mugs.
I don't want to talk about it.
I tried to get Lexi because she has one of the mugs, and I asked her to take product images, and I got a slew of images. They are, in fact, images, and the mug is in some of them.
One is featuring a trash can, and the other is featuring an outlet and my scalp.
Yeah, she was at work when she was taking these, so, I mean, I can't really blame her. But, well, yeah, I'll either post those or we'll do something else.
If you subscribe at the $50 a day Patreon tier, you will get full access to the trash can pictures.
Yeah. You'll be able to use them. Royalty free. You can use them for anything you want.
I've always wanted to be famous.
I've always wanted to be royalty free, said America. If you follow the Instagram page and you like the post on Wednesday commemorating National Podcast Day, that's all you have to do. You'll be automatically entered into the drawing. If you decide you want to go above and beyond and tag some people, you will get an extra entry for each person that you tag, and then they follow the account. So kind of like it worked last time, but no matter what, you just have to like and follow the page to be entered into the giveaway. That will end Wednesday night at, I don't know, I'll probably stop keeping track around midnight, and then I'll announce Thursday who the winner is. So yes, get your mug, and it will be great, and you'll have a Noodles at Noon mug to drink from.
Gosh, I hope it's me, because then I'll have 2 mugs.
Friends and our family of people who work for the show cannot win. Noah, are you lighting stuff on fire? What are you doing? Noah has an open flame.
He's doing a seance.
I am actually...
Did you get that bored of what I was saying? That you just decided to start setting stuff on fire?
I just wanted to call back to some of our reviews talked about Ben's rather controversial opinions on pumpkin spice lattes. And I wanted to offer a peace offering. And I know this isn't video, so the listeners can't see, but I have just
You decided to do it right in the middle of me talking about our giveaway.
I wanted people to like us.
Clearly, he's focused.
I was prepared for the next item on our list. Are you done with the giveaway, or did you have more to say?
I guess I'm done with the giveaway.
I just want to hold as a peace offering to our listeners. I have lit a pumpkin spice candle that I purchased last fall, and I've used it throughout the year. It's almost gone.
I will say, I don't know if it's because of the quality of your camera, but it looks far more dramatic than a normal candle
really
should. Most of you is on fire.
There's like a lens flare.
It's crazy. It's like a J.J. Abrams movie right now.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams directed your webcam.
I have the J.J. Abrams filter on.
Can I offer an opinion on pumpkin spice lattes?
Yeah.
Okay, the lattes. I was a barista at an establishment that is not Starbucks, for the record, for a little over 2 years, and I can safely say that I know absolutely nothing about coffee, but I can pretend like I do. Pumpkin spice lattes are like a solid 6 out of 10. They're not that great. Pumpkin spice cold brew, however, is like a 12 out of 10 off the charts, because they like mix the pumpkin in with like the foam on top of your cold brew, and it's a separate experience. So that's my opinion.
I actually got that opinion from a lot of people when I did the pumpkin spice latte thing. A lot of people told me to try the cold brew, but I don't really like cold brew, so I don't know if I will or not. Maybe I'll try that on Tuesday. Who knows?
I thought about leaving the room again, Lexi. It was close. I almost had to leave the room again, but I'll accept that. I'll accept
Hey,
it.
I brought you a pumpkin spice latte at work, so I enable your habit.
It's true, and I appreciate that. Anyway, we have a new review. I'm just going to move right along. We have a new review on our podcast that we just want to thank Tripster299 for leaving a review. And he says, "Hey, Ben and friends." So I'm proud to be an and friend. Lexi, I guess you're an and friend now. Michael.
I want to be the and. You can be the friend.
Michael is still on maternity leave. He got 4 days off for maternity leave. He's actually editing the podcast tomorrow on Friday, so he'll be back on schedule.
No, today is Monday.
Oh, yes. Today is Monday. Michael has edited the podcast already. As I have spoken this, he's already edited the podcast. It's a weird paradoxical podcast paradigm. Ooh.
Michael exists out of the realm of time.
Meg.
So true. I've never met Michael, but you sound like a wonderful human, Michael, if you can hear this.
So, Michael, you're an and friend, too. But anyway, Tripster299 says, "Hey, Ben and friends. This is a great show. Every episode makes me laugh. I just finished catching up. Can't wait for the next episode." Tripster299, that is awesome. Or Tripster299, I don't want to assume. Thank you for your comments, and we're really glad that you're listening to the show. I'm not sure who you are. Ben might know who you are. I don't know.
I
Ben,
might.
do you?
Maybe.
Whoever you
I
are,
don't know. Do I?
we're very appreciative of you.
Am I allowed to drink water?
Yes, you may. Just back away from the mic like Tay Zonde.
Okay, I'm gonna...
Lexi, do you know who Tay Zonde is?
Is he the chocolate rain guy?
Nice.
Oh, I was
Well
right!
done. One other thing I want to mention before we get into our games is that we're going to have another poll on our website. The crazy cover poll was pretty exciting. This time, we're going to be asking you, what is your favorite game from the show? So we're going to put every game we've ever played, Florida Man, What's Up With, Celebrity Cost Cameo, Cthulhu, all the different games we've played, and you just vote for what some of your favorite games are, and it'll be fun to kind of see what people are
I feel I should
into.
point out that game is called What's the Deal?
What did I call
What's
it?
Up With? You called it What's Up With.
Did I really?
What's the deal, man? Yeah.
What's
Don't-
up
don't-
with?
Duh, that's a new game premiering next week. What's Up With?
Oh man, I gave away our secret game. What's the deal with?
My favorite game is Operation.
Like
All
with
right.
the metal and the tweezers and stuff?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. That gives me anxiety.
But make sure you listen through the rest of the episode because we are premiering 2 new games. And Ben, I think you're going to get us started with one.
Yeah, I am going to get us started with one. And Lexi, pull yourself together. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to Podcast 007, which I realized today when I was putting this together. And I'm doing everything in my power to not make Sean Connery references, but nevertheless, we shall persist. So the game that we are going to premiere is called I Need a Name Game. It's not I Need a Name for the game, it's just called I Need a Name Game. What I did was I went on Reddit, because I was being productive, and found some people looking for names for various different things. Noah, Lexi, you are going to give them a name and your reason for giving them that name. The winner will be decided by our Instagram fans later today when I upload the options to the story. So I'm going to put you guys head to head as every brother and sister should be, because competition is healthy.
True.
So to start it off, Lexi, I'm going to let you go first. And this one is, I mean, I don't know much about it. Noah might know something about it. I don't know how much you know about it. But it's I need a, and then star face emoji, name for makeup and hair biz. And then the explanation says, I need a name for a hair and makeup. I think that's what HAMU or Hamu. I need a name for a Hamu team. I do mostly weddings. Natural, luxury, elegant, lovely, classic, boho are descriptive words for the type of work we do. I need something creative, memorable, luxury, classic, but not too obvious. Stone, my last name, can be in the name, but not necessarily. So what I am asking for you is a creative, memorable, luxury, classic, but not too obvious name for a Hamu company that is natural, luxury, elegant, lovely, classic, and boho, and it must contain the last name of the person, which is Stone.
Oh boy.
This is why going first is a bit of a problem.
Lexi, take it away.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's hair and makeup. So we need to be beauty themed. I'm thinking maybe like skin themed, and I'm thinking, we could just go simple and say stoned and beautiful.
Stoned and beautiful.
So, because you have been stoned because Miss Stone has done your hair and makeup and you're beautiful. So therefore, and I feel like we can get into some hashtags. Hashtag stoned and beautiful.
Noah, what do you have? We have...
It's got to start hashtag stoned and beautiful.
Okay, I'm writing it down. Hashtag stoned and beautiful. Noah, what do you think?
Stone Cold Stanley's hair and makeup conglomerate company. Established 2020.
Who's Stanley? No, wait, who's Stanley?
When did Stanley get
Okay,
in?
let me tell you something. You know
Is
who
it a
Betty
partnership
Crocker
with Stanley Steam and makes your house cleaner?
You know who Betty Crocker is? She is not a woman, or she's not a person. She's not real. So this incorporates stone. You get stone right in there at
You
the
heard
very
it
beginning.
here first. Betty Crocker's not a woman.
I'm shook. 2020,
My life
what's
was a
happening?
lie.
She created this character for her hair and makeup business, Stanley. And because she wanted to stick with the stone theme, it's Stone Cold Stanley. He's like a prospector. He's got a scraggly beard, but he's got the greatest hair and makeup products. And it's one of those things where it's like all the products are black, and it's like got the X, with like a letter in each of the four corners. And so like when she does hair and makeup for weddings and stuff, she even has like, she could get like when you go to Red Robin or something, I don't think they do this anymore, but you have a character costume at Chick-fil-A. They have cow costumes. So you could get like this Stanley
Where are you
prospector
going?
character. So he'll come with her. So she'll do the
I
hair.
saw you off at the start of this reasoning, and you've just wandered around.
Wait, I know why Stanley is there. It's because he's so ugly that the women will feel beautiful in
Yes,
comparison.
yes.
Stanley.
See, Lexi likes this idea so much, she's contributing to it. So you have Stone Cold Stanley in a corner, and she's like, look, I am Mrs. Stone, Stone Cold Stanley's daughter, and I'm here.
Are they related?
Wait,
to make you beautiful.
Wait, no, Stone Cold Stanley's last name is Stone? It's Stone Cold Stanley Stone? So
Yes.
the nickname Stone Cold did not come from his last name, I'm guessing? It's just he got it
Is his middle name Cold?
Yeah, no, his that's his full name. That's not an introductory title. It's Stone Cold Stanley Stone is his full name.
I think you're thinking of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That was
Isn't he a
trademarked.
wrestler?
You don't want to mess with Steve Austin. So you have to. She created this
All right.
new character, Stanley. This is my recommendation.
Well,
just
okay, I understand.
Lexi's on board with it. I think we know where to go here.
We have hashtag Stoned and Beautiful and Stone Cold Stanley's hair and makeup beauty conglomerate thing that Noah said. I can't remember all of it.
Stone
I'll
Cold
listen back to the
Stanley's
podcast.
hair and makeup conglomerate company.
Okay. So those will both be on Instagram. Neither of you have the correct answer, though, because I naturally came up with the
There's
correct...
a correct answer to this?
Yeah, no, it's the one I came up with. Because I didn't think about these any before. Like, I started thinking about these at the same time you did. And I thought of Hair and Stone. Like, Sharon Stone, the actress. So, Hair and Stone. I think that would be
I don't know who that is.
Her name's Sharon Stone. She's an actress. All right, so those are the options. They'll be up on Instagram. You can vote on those later. Next is this person posted by Yukai Dragoon 5 hours before I took a screenshot of this. I'm going to summarize because this dude can write a lot and not say a lot. I need a name for the monster hunters in my fantasy novel series. He is working on a set of fantasy novels which will be centered around some monster hunters. He doesn't want to use the traditional tropes, but is interested in using something that ends in Bane, because you apparently get the name Bane when you murder something. So Demon's Bane. But he thinks Monster Bane sounds pretty dumb. So he's looking for alternatives. He wants to make it clear that these monsters are not demonic or mythical in any way. So they're just real world monsters that are often viewed as a nuisance or a problem. But they are super dangerous wild monsters. So preferably using the word Bane, and they are monster hunters. Noah, give us a name for these monster hunters. I also think it's quite interesting that it feels like this book that he's writing is centered very much around these monster hunters, but he has no idea what he's going to call the monster hunters in his book about.
Yeah, he has a lot of specifics about them, but he doesn't know what to call them.
Yeah, he hasn't thought like that hard about it, but he's thought pretty hard about it. Noah, did I stall long enough for you to come up with an answer?
I'm still struggling here.
Okay, question. Are we naming like the team as a whole, or are we naming like the individual members?
I think the team. I'm working on a set of fantasy novels which would be centered around some monster hunters. So I think, yeah, the team, the group, the conglomeration. Stone Cold Stanley Baines.
Stone Cold Bane. Bad guy Bane. They are the Bane of bad guys. He thinks Monster Bane is too on the nose. Just take it farther. Bad guy Bane.
More on the nose. Antagonist Baines.
Actually, I want to add on. I'm gonna go with
Bad guy Bane. All right. Noah has Bad guy Bane.
We are the Bane of bad guys. This is our creed.
Is that their?
That's what they say
they
before
chant
they.
that at their meetings.
Yes, we are
they
the Bane.
huddle around pumpkin spice candles and are like, "We are Bad guy Bane.
We fight for good. We fight against bad. It is the belief of this group that badness is bad." I rest my case.
All right, Lex, can you do better than Bad guy Bane?
Can't do much worse.
It just sounds like a group of like middle-aged dads who are really against Billie Eilish.
Who is this William Eyelash? Okay, so I think within these monster hunters, there are actually two factions because the men and the women of the monster hunters can't coexist. So the male faction is just simply called Bruce Bane because they've heard a name that sounds similar and they think he sounds like a powerful guy. So like they're going for Bruce Bane instead of Bruce Wayne. And then the female faction is actually just called Bane Austen, as opposed to Jane Austen. They're very literary monster hunters. So Bruce Bane and Bane Austen are the male and female factions of these monster hunters.
All right.
Respectively.
So we have the bad guy Banes and Bane Austen and Bruce Bane. Doesn't Bruce Wayne, I think you're going with Bruce Wayne, doesn't he have an enemy that's named Bane?
Is Bruce Wayne Batman or Superman?
Clark Kent is Superman. Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Okay. So clearly I am knowledgeable about this subject. Oh, I think Bane is a bad guy.
Have none of you seen The Dark Knight Rises?
I haven't, but I do know that there's an enemy named Bane. All right, those are your two options. We're going to move on to the third question. Those will all be on Instagram. You can vote for your favorite. I think both of you will like this one. I chose this one specifically for you. I am restarting my Animal Crossing New Horizons island because I hate my name. I made it Greenleaf. Super creative, I know, right? I saw somebody's island named Wormtopia, and I like that. Any names along that line? Help me, Reddit. You are my only hope. Lexi, what should this person named The Names Cracked, what should they rename their Animal Crossing New Horizons island?
I think the reason that they like Wormtopia is because, like, it's a really fun sound, you know? It's just fun to say. So, in throwback to a word that Noah learned on the podcast, I really think they should call this Schleppopolis because Schlepp is almost as fun to say as worm, and Schleppopolis is just pretty fun to say. So, I'm going to go with Schleppopolis.
Schleppopolis?
Instead of Wormtopia.
All right, we got Schleppopolis. Noah, what's your answer?
I was actually going to use an opolis too, so now I'm trying to scramble to rethink.
Oh, you poor man. I'm sorry.
Leech crack.
What?
What?
It's got a little bit of an homage to his username, which you said was cracked or crack.
The name's cracked. His full username is The Name's Cracked.
The name's cracked. So I'm thinking leech crack. It sounds like where the orcs would come from in Lord of the Rings. It's got a little bit of the worm theme to it, but just a little grosser.
Leech crack. Okay, this clarifies so much and is much better than what I heard.
Because if you think about it, like the progression of a Lord of the Rings style thing, like they would start out in a land called Greenleaf. That makes sense. And then very quickly, when they set out on an adventure, they end up in a place like Leech Crack, where there's like leeches sucking their eyes out, and it's just all bad. And I think that would be a really cool setting for an Animal Crossing game.
All right. So we have Leech Crack and what Lexi said, which was...
Schlepopolis.
Those were the three questions for I Need a Name. The hair and makeup biz, which Lexi said stoned and beautiful, and Noah said Stone Cold Stanley's hair and makeup company conglomerate. For the Monster Hunters and the fantasy novel series, Noah said bad guy Bane, and Lexi created an entire faction. She's thought more about this than the person writing the book, where the female Monster Hunters are named Bane Austin, and the males are named Bruce Bane. And then for this last one, for the Animal Crossing, Noah said he wants to name Leech Crack as the new island, and Lexi suggested Schlepopolis. So those will all be on Instagram. You can vote there. We'll post the results later. But that was the first time we've ever played this game. We're going to kick it over to Noah for the first time we're going to play this next game.
Well, thank you, Ben. We're going to be playing a new game today that I'm really excited about. And just to preface this, something that happens when you have a house or live somewhere is you get invited to NextDoor. Have either of you guys ever heard of or been on NextDoor?
I've never been on, but I have heard of it, yes.
I know that my mom uses it.
That's usually what people say. It's something my mom uses. So I've been able to get on NextDoor, which has been kind of fun. And it's just interesting to see the variety of things people talk about. So if you're not familiar with NextDoor, it's basically a social media for your neighborhood. You can talk about strange goings-on in your neighborhood. You can talk about complaints. You can talk about, hey, I found this dog and I'm looking for their owner, different things like that. So I was looking through that, and it kind of got me inspired to find some of the weirder posts on NextDoor. And so these are not going to come from my local NextDoor. These come from different people on the internet who have found weird NextDoor posts. So I'm going to give you a little bit of the story and ask you both to fill in the rest of the story. And whoever is closer, or whoever's answer I arbitrarily like better, will get the point. So to start us off, let's go to Waverly Heights. Now I don't know where Waverly Heights is located in the world, but it seems like a pretty posh neighborhood. And this neighbor complained. He put out a call on NextDoor for someone to do something after he saw this on his street. He felt like he paid too much money to live in this neighborhood for this to be on the street. What did he see on his street? Ben.
I think that this man, who I've named Chet, decided that he saw a banana peel on his street. And he wanted to organize a task force to make sure that there are no banana peels or other fruit-related casings anywhere on the street, because he pays some really good money to live in a fruit casing-less world. He buys already peeled oranges. He gets strawberries without the seeds on the outside. He did surgery on a grape and doesn't have the skin on the grape anymore. He does not do food casings. So Chet saw a banana peel and decided something must be done, but somebody else should do it because he pays good money.
That's pretty good. That's pretty petty. Lexi, what do you think?
Well, I think I like what this guy Chet. I think he is definitely in our target market here. What what I think Chet saw, so his next door neighbor, his name is Lenny, and he recently had a very rich aunt die, and so he used that money to buy a house in Waverly Heights. So he's not like the typical population that lives in Waverly Heights. He just kind of inherited all this money and bought a house in Waverly Heights. And one night he was out there and he was grilling and he decided to wear sandals. And this man's feet are just, they're not beautiful. And Chet really has a thing against feet, specifically toes. And he did not like having to look out the window of the sauna in his house and see his neighbor Lenny's toes, super gross toes, while he was outside grilling. So he made a post about it on Nextdoor, calling out Lenny and his unclothed feet.
Hate it when that happens. All right, so we have banana peel on the street or neighbor's toes. And the correct answer is it was an old car. And not that old of a car. It's like a 2004 CRV or something. So it's like a mildly older car, but it's not a beater car, it's just a car. And so
as
this
someone
person
who drives a 2007 Ford, I take offense to this guy.
Exactly. And he writes,
I bet Lenny drove that car.
so
Yeah, Lenny.
Chet wrote, "Can someone do something about this? I've tried the police and I've tried this office, all to no avail. We pay a lot of money to live in this neighborhood. It's outrageous that we should have to look at cars with such a low Kelley Blue Book value." So,
Bringing in the KBB.
Kelly with 2 E's.
so
Yeah.
apparently there should be an HOA rule that you do not have to look at old cars in your posh neighborhood.
We talked about this last week, how much I have a distaste for HOAs, even though I've never lived in one. I just think they're ridiculous.
HOAs, man, they'll get you. But we also have
Or as
neighbors.
I like to call them, Hua.
So I'm going to give the point to Ben on that one because I feel like he got a little bit closer with something being left out on the street and something that is kind of petty to complain about. So Ben, I'm going to
doing
give
a
you the
dance.
first
Kind of
point.
like Lenny's toes.
You can't see me doing my victory dance, but I'm doing a dance. Take that, Lexi.
I respect that. But I bet you $10 Lenny was the driver of the CRV.
Well, maybe
we just
Lenny
established Lenny was the neighbor, so obviously it was Lenny.
Maybe Lenny is the one that sent this urgent alert in message 2. So one of the features of Nextdoor is you can send an urgent alert if something is really wrong or something that you need to communicate to the whole neighborhood. So this neighbor sends an urgent alert. This happened at the local Whole Foods. What happened, Lexi?
I think that someone's child was in the Whole Foods and they were licking the tomatoes in the produce section. And so this neighbor knew that, a lot of people go to Whole Foods and they buy tomatoes. And in today's day and age, you want to stay away from the germs. And so they just thought that it was very urgent. They alert the entire neighborhood that someone's child had licked all of the tomatoes in Whole Foods.
Good answer.
I would actually appreciate that. I would be very thankful to that neighbor. Ben, what about you?
I think that this person saw an individual in the Whole Foods. And this individual may not be as well put together as some other people, but he's living his best life wearing the clothes he wants to wear. And I picture him, long hair, bit of a beard, parachute pants, and most importantly, a North Face fuzzy vest, but nothing underneath it. Like, it's zipped up. It's tasteful. But just the North Face vest. And I think that really got on the nerves of this person who just felt urgent. There's a guy just wearing a vest at the Whole Foods. Protect your fruit from arm sweat.
That's a good guess.
Wow.
And again, as a neighbor in that Whole Foods, I would be grateful for that message.
At that one, I sometimes don't wear sleeves.
I would
Are you anti-vests?
I would not want to shop at a place where people are wearing vests.
Are you an anti-vester?
You can wander through my Target without a mask, but you put on a vest and it's over.
We don't want to see it.
All right. So the answer is urgent alert. Warning. All the avocados at Whole Foods are rock hard.
Okay, but I would respect getting that because I hate when you buy an avocado and it's still hard.
And the great thing about this is it has 16 replies and a bunch of thank you emojis. Like you can reply, you can just like thank the writer. So everybody was really appreciative.
Another way this could be phrased is urgent warning. I've handled all of the avocados at Whole Foods.
That's true, yeah.
My son has licked them all.
I have firmly grasped each of the avocados.
And I can just picture like how many people were at home like, I need to go get avocados from Whole Foods. And then they get the alert. Oh, no. There's no point. He just saved me a trip to Whole Foods. All the avocados
this could also be
are rock hard.
I bought all of the avocados that weren't rock hard.
That's true. One time I tried to microwave an avocado because I was like, this'll help make it riper. And it turned orange and it was warm and still rock hard and orange. So this is a public service announcement that do not microwave your avocados.
If you microwave an avocado, does the middle of it pop like a piece of popcorn, like the pit? Because I feel like pits of avocados are very similar to unpopped popcorn.
That would be amazing.
I did not have that experience, but I also didn't microwave it for that long for fear of something terrible happening.
Try it Tuesday, Lexi. Get an avocado pit, put it in your microwave for the popcorn setting. See what happens.
If I hit the popcorn button, it turns into popcorn, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Well, I'm definitely going to give the point to Lexi on this one because she got pretty close with things being wrong with the produce at Whole Foods. So that brings it to 1-1 for our final question. So posts about dogs on Nextdoor are frequent. Lots of people post about my dog is missing, or I found this dog, or please get your dog off my lawn. But this post was rather unusual. A lady sent a post asking if she could borrow a dachshund for the afternoon. Why did she need a dachshund, Ben?
I'm so glad you asked. The reason they needed a dachshund, however it's pronounced,
Dachshund.
is because this was Halloween, and this lady and her significant other were going as ketchup and mustard, and they wanted a little wiener hot dog. And so they decided to get a wiener dog, but they didn't have one, and the local shelter was out, and they didn't really have a return policy. So they decided to turn to Nextdoor and be like, hey, yos, can we borrow your doggos so we can get some candies, please?
Aww.
That's how they talk on Nextdoor.
No, for sure.
That's a very wholesome story. Lexi, your turn.
See, okay, mine was going to be in that same vein. Should I change it or should I stick with it?
Whatever you feel morally obligated to do.
Okay, well, it's slightly different. It's not Halloween. It's actually like a photographer. And it's one of those like kitschy photographers, you know, where they make posters and calendars for like 11-year-old girls. Like I used to have a poster of dogs inside tennis shoes. So it's one of those photographers, and she was making her calendar, and she realized that for July, the month in which hot dogs are extremely popular, she didn't have a photo, and she wanted to dress up a dachshund as a hot dog, and so just her photos were due that night. She had needed a really quick solution, so she asked the neighbors if anybody had a dachshund she could borrow, because she already had the hot dog costume, and then she was gonna like put the dog up on the grill. It's off, of course, for the record. And just take some artistic photos for her dogs in food calendar.
I like that answer a lot.
That's a good answer, too. Both very wholesome answers. Are you guys ready to hear a wholesome story?
I guess I'm not about to hear a wholesome story.
You are. It's purely pure. It's great.
Aw.
I'm excited.
So Nikki, on January 15th of 2017, says, hi, all. Random question, but does anyone have a dachshund I might be able to have my picture taken with, please? And someone replied, I'm sorry I can't help, but I really want to know the story behind this. And so Nikki would really like to own a dachshund of her own, and she would like a picture taken with a dachshund so she could put it on her goal board to visualize what it would be like to own a dachshund. So she has a goal board, you know, with her thoughts and dreams, and she really wants a picture with a dachshund.
It's her vision board.
So then another neighbor posts a photoshopped picture of Nikki's profile picture, but with a dachshund next to her. And Nikki replies, that is amazing. You literally made my goal board. Thank you so much. So it has a happy ending. She got a
Wow.
Photoshop picture of her with the dachshund so she can really visualize it. And I just think that's a really nice story of neighbors doing nice things for each other.
That is so
But
cute.
did she get a dachshund?
Yeah, what's the follow-up?
It would be fun to follow up with her. Maybe we'll get her on the show and we can ask her if she has a dachshund.
I'll let you arrange that, no?
All right, I'll follow up with her. But I'm definitely going to have to give this point to Lexi because she kind of got the photography
Obviously.
aspect of it in there. So Lexi, you've won your first game on Noodles at Noon.
Wow. Do I win anything?
Dennis Quaid.
You get a signed picture of Dennis Quaid, but you only get it in spirit because quarantine, woo! So I will keep it.
That's okay. I accept
I'll send you a
that.
picture of it if you want.
I would rather it work out that way. You know what? You can keep it in my honor.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad.
It doesn't match the feng shui of
Your
my
feng
room.
shui. Well, keeping in the theme of honor, we're going to move on to Florida Man as our final game as we wrap up our show here. So thank you so much, Lexi, for being here. Thank you, Noah. As we dive right into Florida Man, y'all know how it works. September 19th, 2016, Florida Man sues Samsung after what, Lexi?
I think that he sued Samsung. That's really hard to say. So he texted a girl back. And
Bold.
things were going really, really well. And so he texted her asking to go on a date. But Samsung made it look like the message sent, even though it never actually did. So he thought this girl ghosted him. And he could have been happy. But instead, he was alone forever. And it's all Samsung's fault.
See, I just struggle with the problem of I send the messages, but they never get delivered. Noah, what do you think?
I think I was going to keep on the theme of he had a date, but I think he set an alarm. It was a morning breakfast date, and he set an alarm on his Samsung phone. The alarm did not go off because phone alarms just sometimes fail. It's just how it goes. We all know it. We've all accepted it. But he missed this date, and the girl wouldn't go out with him again. And so Samsung was to blame for love lost.
Wow.
So, should I blame the fact that I'm not married on the fact that I have a Samsung and not an Apple?
Yes.
that the
That's
problem?
the reason.
I'm not married, and I have an iPhone.
Well, yeah, but...
I have a
Anyway.
Windows phone.
Oh, how are you married? Goodness
kidding.
gracious.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. It's all Bill Gates. So the answer to this one kind of isn't that unusual when we think about it now. But on September 19th, 2016, a Florida man sued Samsung after his Galaxy Note 7 exploded in his pocket. Now, this was before we knew that that was all that those phones did. So everyone was like, oh, this guy's just
True.
being ridiculous. That doesn't happen. And then everyone's phone exploded. So this was like, this Florida man is prophetic. Instead of normally when it's this Florida man is pathetic. So I gotta think. Deliberation.
Vindication for a Florida man. This is like the first Florida man
Yeah.
story with a kind of a positive conclusion.
Where they've actually...
Yeah,
They never actually do good
the next
things.
two stories are totally going to make up for that. But I'm going to have to give it to... I'm going to give it to Noah, because you could say that his phone exploding was like kind of a wake-up alarm. Like, that would definitely wake me up if my phone exploded in my pocket. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to Noah, even though he said it didn't. The alarm didn't go off, but I'm struggling to think of a reason to give somebody points, so I'm going to give it to Noah. Congratulations, Noah, you get the first point. On September 21st of 2004, kicking about 16 years, blank, so the first word is blanked out, blank shoots Florida man, deputies say. What shot this Florida man, Noah?
Marco Rubio!
Marco Rubio! Woo! No.
No. So I'm going to guess it's not a human. I'm going to guess it's something ahuman, inhuman, inhumane, even.
A human.
I would classify this as inhumane. That's a hint.
Inhumane. I think it's like a heavy bug. No, it's a gator. Of course it's a gator. This is Florida. All roads lead to gators. Thank you.
All road leads to gators into Florida. And apparently the gators lead to guns. Lexi, what is your answer?
So I'm thinking this man probably has a gun in his house.
Undoubtedly.
So he lives in Florida, and he probably also has a parrot.
Probably.
So I'm thinking that his pet parrot was just flying around one day, just chilling, and this guy was cleaning his gun, and he left it loaded while he went to go do something else, and the parrot comes over, and while it's like saying his name, he's like, Brutus, Brutus. He comes over, and he hits the trigger with his beak, and the pet parrot shoots the Florida man.
Pet parrot. Well, sadly, you are both incorrect. I can tell you that right off.
Aww.
But the correct answer is puppy. A puppy shoots Florida man, deputies say. No good, dirty, rotten man was treated at a Florida hospital after the .38 caliber revolver he was going to use on the dog shot him because the dog put its paw on the trigger and shot the man instead, which is justified, I feel like saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not even going to mention that guy's name because I don't really want to. But...
Was it a dachshund?
I don't know. I didn't do that much research. But I'm going to give this one to Lexi because she said pet parrot, and a puppy is closer to a pet parrot than
I said, oh,
alligator.
no, I didn't. I thought that was me.
You said...
I said
what,
gator.
What reality are you living in, Noah?
I was about to fight that really hard. I was like, that was my answer.
All right, so we're going to go into the last round. We're tied 1-1, by the way, because Lexi got that last point. On September 23rd, 2016, because weird things happened in 2016, Florida man charged with writing blank in the Florida Keys. Lexi, what was this man charged with writing?
I don't think he's dumb enough to ride a shark. And, well, maybe.
It is a Florida man.
And I don't think that he would ride a dolphin because that's too basic. So I'm going to say that Florida man was down in the Keys riding a sea lion.
A sea lion. Florida man charged with riding a sea lion in the Keys is Lexi's answer. Noah, what do you have to say for yourself and this Florida man?
Well, we do need to watch out for loose seals in the ocean, but I believe the answer
Not seals,
is...
sea lions.
That's the same thing.
No.
They're
very different.
No, they are not.
I love how every week we find out something about Noah that just shocks us
that
all.
Noah doesn't know.
Well, they're different things. Wow. I just always assumed seal was short for sea lion.
How is seal short for sea lion?
As in the L.
Hey, have you ever heard of the Navy sea
the
lions?
L in sea stands for lion. It makes perfect sense.
No.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Oh, Noah, you've already lost somehow.
Well, I was going to reuse my answer because it still feels appropriate. All roads lead to gators.
All right, Noah's locking in with gators. Lexi's sticking with sea lions, or seals, because...
Which are different from
apparently
seals.
Those are the same thing, Noah. But the correct answer is a Florida man was charged with writing manatees in the Keys.
Oh,
Manatees
Lexi's got
in the
this.
Keys. A witness saw...
Manatees.
Yeah, manatees in the Keys. Witness saw James Massengale Jr. touch two manatees and their calves. Massengale, a self-described student preacher, which I have no idea what that means, then confessed to the witness fairly willingly that he had been riding them. And then he was arrested and put on like a $25,000 bond.
When you said manatees' calves, instead of thinking of baby manatees, I was like, how does a manatee have calves?
I'm not going to lie.
Thinking like leg calves.
I thought that same thing too when I was reading this story before. I remembered like, oh yeah, manatees are just sea cows. And I was like imagining like a manatee with basically the legs of that sculpture of David. Because I'm like, yeah, that's like the same color. So I'm like these super chiseled legs that a manatee has. And I was like, wait, let's shake that image from our head and remember that. No.
Super chiseled manatee.
Yeah, super chiseled manatee. So Noah said it himself. This point has to go to Lexi because it's not an alligator. It's it's a manatee, but that's probably closer to a sea lion, unless somebody can convince me otherwise. So Lexi, you won 2 games out of the 2 games that we played in which we gave points. So congratulations. Give yourself a round of applause because I'm not going to do it for you. And thank you so much for being on the show this week.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. Truly.
I'm so glad. Do you have anything you would like to say about your victories? Good, because we're over time. Thank you guys
That's
so
awesome.
much
I didn't have
for
anything
listening.
Can I have a wrap up?
No. Okay, go ahead.
I'm looking through all my tabs here because I did Google a lot of things this episode, and I thought it would be a fun highlight to just tell you what every Google search tab is that I have open right now in order. So I have relative, Mel Gibson, HMU makeup, because I didn't quite understand what the HMU meant, and then I figured it out.
Hair,
Stone Cold Stanley's hair and makeup conglomerate company, because I wanted to see if that was a real thing. Sharon Stone, because I didn't know who that was. Latin word for plumber. Now, I don't remember why I Googled that.
Wait. Do enlighten us. What's the Latin word for plumber?
It says plumarius, but I have a hard time believing that because I kind of doubt plumbers were a thing when Latin was around, but I don't know.
Beg to differ.
You think plumbers have been around that long?
100%.
They're always punctual, so.
The word plumber dates from the Roman Empire. The Latin for lead is plumbum.
Is plumbum. I looked it up at the same time. It's plumbum.
I would like to revise my earlier answer for the Bane thing. I think they should be called the plumbums.
I'll see if I allow that.
And then I have Bruce Bane, who is a character in the AC universe. He fights Bratman and the Jokester. I don't know. I don't know anything about
like
that.
An alternate universe. That's a DC alternate universe. Invented by Nikola Tesla.
That sounds real.
Because Edison invented DC.
Obviously.
And then I have worm synonyms, other suffixes like opolis, which was totally unhelpful. And then sea lion versus seal.
Who would win?
I would just like to say, cheaters never prosper. The internet will not
these are
help
all... this is all legitimate. I wasn't like Googling Florida man answers or anything. I was just looking for inspiration.
No, he wasn't.
And clearly it backfired on me.
Clearly. All right, well, I think that'll finally wrap us up. Thank you all so much for listening. Even though Lexi won both the games, we are all winners because we got to spend this time together. And thank you so much for listening. You are a winner as well because you just are a winner. So thank you so much for being here. We'll see you guys next week. Make sure you participate in that giveaway on Wednesday. And yes, have a wonderful week on my behalf. Please do it for me. Always put the sign up before you take your pants off.